my hero was the bionic woman, Jamie Summers. And I used to always pretend I was her. So when I got this, and I was like, well, hey, now I'm bionic. I can actually be Jamie Summers. With the criteria of the different things with the Heart Association, I kind of fell into the risk categories where I could get a defibrillator put in. A thickening of the septum in your heart. And so if your heart rate gets too high, it can cause you to have cardiac arrest. I was starting to have some of the same symptoms that my mom had had.
I would get palpitations, and I would just have this kind of aching in my chest all the time.
They never could quite figure out exactly what was wrong. Well, it turns out that she had had what my brother had. I guess the hell has to go back to when my brother was born. I have a brother who is 11 years younger than me. When he was born, I had to bring him to show and tell. My mom had to bring him into class because I was just so proud of having a baby brother.
And he and his sister were quite close. You know, Liz was the little mother, and you know, he loved his sister. He loved to kick the ball around with his brother, and he was just always amazing, always had a smile on his face.
Ben needed a ride to soccer practice. We'd drive down to take him to soccer practice. And first he's like, oh man, they're running, I don't want to run today. I'm like, oh, come on, it's good for you. I just hate that that was the last thing I said to him. About 5 minutes after I got in the house, the phone rang. And it was the sheriff's department. They were calling to tell me that Ben had collapsed on the soccer field, and that he had been care flighted to Miami Valley Hospital. You know, everybody's there, and my mom comes out and tells me that Ben had died.
You're just in such shock that you don't even know what to do. You know, you don't know what to say. So you don't say anything. I didn't say anything.
I just, like, he was fine. I just, you know, saw him an hour and a half ago. He was totally fine. Come to find out later that he had something that it's really hard to detect unless you really know you're looking for it. It's hypertrophic cardiomyopathy.
The only way he was diagnosed was through an autopsy, where they looked at the cellular level of the heart.
In the back of your mind, you always wonder what's going to happen, especially with my two daughters. You know, they're building obstacle courses in the backyard and wanting me to go run through these obstacle courses with them, and like, Mom, come on, I'll race you. And I want to jump out there and race with them, but then I'm afraid, you know, what if I collapse like my brother did? And I don't want to do that to my kids, you know. So Ben dying was awful, and I don't ever want anybody to experience that. But a lot of it came out for our family after Ben. So, I mean, he's kind of helped us to all be aware and make sure our kids are, you know, checked out regularly. And
between Suzanne and Liz, it's kind of built up. And then, in a way, it's almost a relief that you're diagnosed, you have something, and you can do something about it now.
Now, you know, that it's like that safety net, which is kind of good. I don't have that fear in the back of my head anymore. And so now I go run the obstacle courses with my kids.
So after the defibrillator, it really freed her. So I saw a huge difference. It really made her more active.
And then my mom, you know, later went back and she was been tested, and she has a defibrillator now too. And the defibrillators definitely have become more prevalent than they used to, and which I think has been very good. And I think that's in part to the American Heart Association. I think if Ben had had, you know, one of those portable defibrillators on the field, he might be here today.
To see the American Heart Association go into schools and do things like jump rope for your heart, my kids get really excited about that, but there's a message behind it as well. So I think that's important that the American Heart Association starts the education young.
The Heart Association's made a big push on diagnosing heart disease in women.
Knowledge gives you some kind of control, and if there's something you can do with that knowledge, that makes you feel like, well, you know, that gives us a better chance.
Although they never met Ben when he was here, our kids know him in a different level, and we make sure of that.